There's a new poll that has come out. It looks like Bernie Sanders now is actually higher than Joe Biden. What's going on over there?
You know, it's funny. So I actually went to search for this. It's called the corn kernel poll, right? Everybody puts a kernel corn in the bowl that they like. Trump's bowl was totally overflowing, right? But they'll actually only show the Democrats. They only show these little ones. You have Mayor de Blasio, the mayor of this city here in New York. You have about 3 kernels of corn, right? There's 30,000 kernels in these bowls. He has about 3 kernels of corn. But they won't show the one on the red podium, which is Trump's, which is literally full to the top and overflowing.
Someone was on here yesterday and said they had to bring out a few more jars.
It's unbelievable.
For your dad.
It's unbelievable. Why does the media hide that? I mean, literally, just Google it right now. Just corn kernel poll. Google it. They only show the Democrats. They won't show Trump's bowl, which is overflowing. I mean, it's sick that has to be the narrative in this country, and no one can even talk about it unless somebody comes over with their phone, snaps a picture because they happen to be a supporter, and it ends up going viral.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so to be clear, Eric Trump is throwing a full minute-long fit on national television because the media isn't covering the fact that an incumbent Republican president is winning the Republican corn kernel poll. I know everyone jokes around that Eric isn't exactly the smart one, but I can't believe I have to go through this, but the reason that no one in the media is talking about Trump leading the Iowa corn kernel poll for Republicans is that it truly does not matter. Save for some unprecedented surge by Bill Weld, Trump will be the Republican nominee. And look, I know that no amount of fawning adulation is enough for the Trump family, but do we really have to cover the fact that Republicans are rallying behind the incumbent heading into his second term? What this is standard Republican victimhood. The GOP's entire existence is predicated on this notion that they are the eternal victims, despite the fact that they're not. The demographics of the Republican Party are overwhelmingly Caucasian, male, and Christian. So if you mean to tell me that white Christian men are somehow under siege in this country, then you just might have a victimhood complex. But this is all by design. Fox News and the Republican Party in general rely on presenting themselves as the victims to scare their voters into toeing the party line. They need to scare their voters into thinking that Democrats are going to impose socialism, despite the fact that A, the most popular programs in the country are Medicare and Social Security, and B, no Democrats want to impose socialism. They need to scare their voters into thinking that the economy will suffer under Democrats, despite the fact that historically, the economy suffers under Republicans. Clinton left office with a booming economy and a surplus in the 90s, Bush left office in a recession, Obama left office with 76 straight months of growth, and now once again, fears of a recession are growing under another Republican president. It's almost like constantly giving tax cuts to rich people while letting the rest of the country suffer isn't a good formula for economic growth, and it's almost like we have to relearn that phenomenon every single time a Republican takes office. The right needs to scare their voters about immigrant invasions, about selling aborted fetuses, about literally anything they can conjure up because they can't win on their agenda, so they have no choice but to win on fear. But the worst part about this victim complex is that Republicans are actually the ones governing from the minority. The last 2 Republican presidents have actually lost the popular vote, Bush in 2000 and Trump in 2016. Republican senators, who hold the majority, represent tens of millions less people than Democratic senators who are in the minority. In fact, we're now seeing the highest discrepancy between senators and the people they represent in modern US history. And prior to this year, gerrymandered districts in the House gave Republicans a massive majority, despite only winning 50% of the popular vote in states like Michigan, but ending up with 2/3 of the seats. Republicans not only have no mandate to enact their agenda, but to then go so far as to claim that they're the victims, that they're under siege, when they've already cheated their way into power, is beyond hypocrisy. If Eric Trump really wants to complain that his dad's corn kernel popular vote isn't being broadcast, then let's do just that and remind everyone that Hillary Clinton got 3 million more corn kernels than him. Just saying.